And we are live. What up, you guys? It's Blackwing 2040. Welcome to Comic Book Retrospective, episode 2. I got a wide, big, full house of guests with me here today. I got, of course, no stranger to the channel, my boy Tex. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
Thanks. And with me, some special guests from the Comics Authority podcast. I got Elvis.
Hello, I'm awesome. I mean, it's awesome to be here, but either way.
And I got AJ.
Hey, how's it going? Good to be here.
We're missing one last member of the Comics Authority. Hopefully he shows up, but if not, we'll just have to go on without him. But anyway, this discussion is mainly going to be about the New 52. For a lot of us, or mainly for a lot of comic book readers, the New 52 was basically a gateway point for a lot of people to get into comic books. It was, a good jumping on point. DC decides, like after the Flashpoint event, they just decide to go through a whole relaunch and just give folks who just always wanted to read DC Comics a chance to jump onto their books. And 10 years later, I actually sitting down and reading some of the titles, because I thought the New 52 was kind of terrible, even though it was a jumping on point for me. I felt like it ruined some characters, but actually reading some titles, I could see it wasn't all that bad. So basically, this whole discussion is about us comparing the notes, seeing if it had like a kind of where it kind of fell flat, if it fell flat, and going all the way to the end where it ended with Dark Side War and The Last Day of Superman and so on and so forth. So I'll start with Tex, bro. What was your gate for the New 52? What was your jumping on title for the New 52?
Just a one.
Any title.
Any title. Okay. Well, the obvious one, Batman, of course. Snyder's run. He started off in the New 52, right? Like he didn't come on like midway.
Yeah, he started New 52.
Okay. It was Batman, Superman, some of Action Comics. Ironically, I did not start off reading any Green Lantern, despite always saying I loved them. And of course, Aquaman, which I already liked Aquaman, so that run actually did it more for me. I would say those 3 runs.
Nice. What about you, Elvis?
Oh, okay. So my initial foray into New 52 had to have been Jeff Johns' Justice League. Mainly because that was like the big one that was notorious for being completely terrible, and I that's my first experience with that, because like everyone was talking about it. It's not my favorite, but it's my first kind of introduction to the 52.
It's because you said it was terrible. After actually reading the whole run from beginning to end, all 50 issues, I was like, you know what? He may have a point for some areas, but
I actually just did that too.
So you poor souls, man. That run is.
What you mean?
Okay. I'm gonna lay down just a couple of points, at least for the early run. I do believe that it gets a little bit more cohesive after Forever Evil. All right, but the initial couple of arcs are just the most thin and just really cobbled together, like blockbuster premises that have no weight at all. Like the first one, the Justice League origin arc, it's just set piece of the set piece, but there's no actual story there. It's just like mother boxes and then Darkseid, and then boom, you're the Justice League now. And the villain's journey is like, oh, one guy that was mentioned once in like the afterword to the first arc is now the villain. We're calling it the villain's journey, the villain's journey, right? But it has nothing to do with like an actual sort of heroic journey kind of antithesis. It's just like, oh, my family died and now I'm bad, and I have a skull theme for some reason. Also, Steve Trevor gets broken up with for some reason, and
yeah, okay, I'll admit that was stupid. Yeah, that was very sappy.
Don't forget Hal leaving the team for no real reason. Gotta get him off the book.
Exactly. And I understand that, at least, because Jeff Johns was continuing almost all of his plot threads from pre-52. Green Lantern.
Which we're going to
And-
get into because that is a big problem with the New 52. They did
Exactly.
not know what to cut
Yeah.
and what to keep. They
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
either clean the slate or don't, man. I'm like, come on.
And so yeah, like Justice League is just like just a mess. It's a mess of ideas. And then after for real, I could tell that Johns had some clue of what he wanted to do, like in the overall scope of things. Even then, there's like plot point dropped after plot point being dropped, like things just not being mentioned after all. Like so much of like the Amazo virus ends up not fucking mattering.
I don't think we
Okay.
even see that Amazo till
No,
what?
we
There-
don't. No,
Don't we see him in the Rebirth run though? But he's like
No,
such a
we
minor
don't.
villain. Oh, we
No,
don't.
we don't.
Like when all those villains get together for that stupid story when the little girl was hacking the Justice League somehow. I could have sworn he was in that group of villains, but he was like such a side note. It was like, really, this is when he comes back.
Yeah, it's again, it's a cobblestone thing.
That's that's Rebirth. I mean, I get into that.
Yeah. All right.
So
what about you, AJ? What was your What was your list of titles for the New 52?
Yeah, New 52 is really what brought me back to comics after being away for a while. So, Batman, of course, that's I think the main one for a lot of people. Let's see, Justice League. I dropped after I want to say that second arc. Yeah, I kind of figured out kind of early on it wasn't very good at all. Aquaman, really made me like the character. I'd read the Peter David run back in the day, and that was, pretty good. But for the most part, Aquaman had been kind of a joke to me. So kudos to Jeff Johns for that, at least. And Batgirl. Gail Simone's run, I think, was really well done. The book goes to shit after she leaves, but
Yeah,
those were pretty much my main titles.
Okay. So let's talk about the continuity aspect because Tex did bring this up. They pretty much a lot of characters' origins get retconned, some origins get revamped, and some continuities stay while some continuities get erased. For example, every story in Batman's history stays with a few changes. Same with Green Lantern, while everybody else's story and history gets completely wiped off the map. For example, Superman crash lands in Smallville and everything. He's raised by Martha and Jonathan Kent. Next thing you know, you find out they're dead. This is what I found out because I didn't read any Superman books in the New 52 because I felt like they really, really ruined Superman.
Oh my god, you seriously didn't read Action Comics? That was like amazing.
Action Comics was good. The main Superman book could have been better, but I think if it comes down talking about it, I think New 52 Superman as a whole, I think his character was pretty good. I don't think he's as bad as some people say, but again, compared to Big Blue post crisis, it's he's never gonna look that good.
Yeah,
exactly. And the thing with the continuity, like with the Green Lantern stories, that kind of like Green Lantern #1 takes place right after War of the Green Lanterns, like right there at the end where Sinestro becomes a Green Lantern again. And I appreciate them kind of, Jeff Johns kind of continuing that story. But again, just the New 52 as a whole, like why wipe off so many people's continuities right off the map? Like the Teen Titans origins get changed. Whatchamacallit?
Don't forget how Batman was like 25 and still somehow had each of his Robins.
That was hilarious. All right, because it was hilarious because it was like the precursor to the failed 5G. Because that was pretty much their game plan for Batman stories, which they all happen in 5 years. So every era of Batman happens in 1 year, respectively, and like that's ridiculous.
You just gotta listen to how that sounds, and it's like
it just sounds
because they tried to fix
ridiculous.
it because they aged up Dick to make him like a 16 when I adopted him. Okay, and you can't fix it no matter what you do. You can't fit this much content into only 5 years of a character. I'm sorry.
And it becomes really noticeable when they did when Snyder did year 0 because that was meant to replace year 1. That was meant to replace year 2.
God.
That was meant to replace No Man's Land. That was meant to replace a bunch of Golden Age stuff. And it was like, and so they realized like we can't have this 5-year thing. So this one event book, this for Batman, is going to encompass all of these stories.
Yeah,
That's got to be the most dumbest idea I have ever heard.
They wanted to what's the phrase with the cake? They wanted to have it,
Yeah,
eat it too,
have
or
the
something
cake
like
Their
and
that.
eat it
cake and
too.
eat it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like either do a clean slate or don't do it at all. It's like I don't.
Exactly.
It's gonna be confusing for people. Like if you were like a new Green Lantern reader, maybe you'll be able to understand a bit, but it's like they reference stuff that happened in the old continuity, which they say you don't have to read. It's like
Oh,
I
with Green
don't know.
Lantern, it's hilarious because for the first 12 issues, they don't reference New 52 at all.
Yeah.
Like for the first 12 issues, not until the annual where Johns has to reference it, do we get any mention of like New 52. It's insane. Like I believe he had those scripts already in the bank. Like we're gonna just print these scripts as is. But yeah, no. I want to add something on to like this whole continuity thing because
Go ahead. Go ahead.
you could tell, by and large, that the best books in the 52, and you could go through the list of what books were being released at the time when they first launched, were the ones that were already going to be made before the reboot.
Yeah.
Like Batman, everyone. I mean, yeah, it started off really good. Court of Owls, everyone likes that. That was already being worked on. Niner was already going to redo that, done doing that. He was already setting up the stage for the Court of Owls. That was a done deal. And then you had Swamp Thing. That was the direct sequel to Brightest Day. All right, that was already going to happen. There was a whole miniseries to reintroduce Alec Holland back into the universe. There was Al H, which was going to be a Vertigo book. I think it was originally going to be like edited by Karen Berger. But then when the 52 happened, they needed books. Okay, you're back in the main line. This is gonna be a mainline DC book, not Vertigo. That kind of stuff. So, but the ones that were like left in the lurch, floundering with no kind of like foundation, yeah, those ones had like to pick up the pieces, and that's why I think those ones really didn't work or land as well, like Superman.
And that's very I never knew because okay, I can understand about the Swamp Thing aspect because I'm not a Swamp Thing reader, so the fact that I can understand how that was going to be like a direct sequel to Brightest Day, I can definitely see why for that. But one thing I can understand, like some characters' histories, for instance, Tevia in the chat brought it up. New 52 ruined Titans. We're gonna get to that because trust me, I have
the cartoon ruined Titans,
bro. I don't look. Okay.
Now I see what you mean by these opinions, man.
Oh, that was a joke. All right, but like,
You
no,
see, I told you. It's
you know, so great that the cartoon fans are like poisonous.
I told you his opinions are very
I can never
controversial.
blame a series for its toxic fan base because I just at this point, especially because of social media, it's just Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, but again with the continuity aspect, like
Do we have to talk about Titans?
No, we don't. But
I don't. It was bad. I read it. I read all of it. I can tell you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no,
terrible except for Bunker. The end. Bunker is amazing.
Bunker is the only character I know about. And I'm so glad DC's still trying to push him, or barely. I guess he was in Red Hood. Now he's back in the stratosphere with all the other characters nobody fucking cares about except, I guess, fans, evidently.
Yeah.
I don't know why I tried to force myself to read the Teen Titans book. Like I only read I think the first arc. And I'm just like, I can't read this anymore.
It's just terrible.
I can't read it anymore.
It's not been good.
I mean, technically it's a Young Justice book, but I mean, you know, they want to. Literally every character they found a way to just not make them likable or cool. I mean, I guess Tim was okay. I guess
it's like a really bad teen melodrama, but not in like a good bad kind of way. Where like you're liking it for the slippiness. It's just like, oh, we need to have love triangles. We need to have like butting heads. We need to have like lots of testosterone and like hormones. Like it's not interesting.
What was the point of Barthor? Like, why couldn't he just be
what was the point of the character? What's her name? Skitter. Like, what kind of character is that?
Well, that was just Lobdell pushing his own OC. But Barthor, that's funny because that was because everyone hated the fact that he was meant to be Bart, so they had to figure out a way how to write him off.
Okay.
And I honestly, I wish they had stuck with him instead of like making him Barthor because like you're just throwing things into like the breach that you don't need to throw away. You know, just like, did we throw away New 52 Superman? No, we found a way to like make some sort of untangled mess about it. You know, we added Mr. Mixoplex into like the equation to try to fix that shit. Why not just do that for Bart? But no, they had to like do some ridiculous shit.
Yeah. Oh, he just happened to
And the
look
mess
exactly the
gets
same alien.
even more confusing when we talk about Convergence, which I still haven't read, and I don't think I ever will read.
Don't. Convergence is bad, man.
Convergence
So-
was DC's first attempt at trying to appease fans and fix what they messed up, and it just all went worse. I don't. Convergence is. I don't get it.
Who
I
wrote
was like,
Convergence?
I don't. It get rated.
Hold up. I'm
It, it, wa-
let me
it
look
was
it up.
it was Tom something. The one of the Toms I hate. What's his name?
I'm looking it up right now. DC Convergence. That was written by. Hold on.
Was it Tom?
Jeff King, Scott Lobdell, and Dan Jurgens.
Oh, Jeff. Oh, whatever. No one I care about then. But the fact of the matter is that Convergence only really existed, like you said, like to appease fans, but also to give, like Earth 2 like a new sort of origin story because they realized how much they've butchered Earth 2, that they needed to like appease JSA fans in particular. Like, okay, now they have a new Earth. This is it. JSA fans, be happy.
Yeah, it's.
There's someone asked a question. Was Wallace West, Black Wally, originally supposed to replace pre-New 52 Wally West? Then they changed it to
I honestly feels that way. Like
no, it was that was the plan.
There's no way there's an argument. It's like, oh yeah, we planned this. Like, no, you would have gave hints or something.
No,
like,
yeah, that's definitely what was meant to happen. That's why I hate the fact that there's two Wallies now, because they should have just stuck with the one they introduced. Like, because why are there two now? Like, I would be okay for like a Black Wally. It doesn't matter, but the fact that there's two now, and we'll be like, oh yeah, there was this whole thing, and that's the reason why I don't think like Wallace works as a character, because there's nothing there that wasn't meant to be somebody else, so he's left feeling very hollow.
I mean, Wallace's defense, he was really nothing like Wally anyway.
I know, yeah.
He was no way.
He was definitely a victim of being like stereotypical young Black guy,
absolutely
angry at the world,
exactly.
No authoritative figures.
That's why I hated about him too. Venditti's run on the Flash was maybe the second worst after Williamson.
I think, first of all, Elvis, I thank you for telling me which Flash runs to read for New 52, because I've been wanting to read New 52 Flash, and I only read Manipul's run.
Yeah, Manipul and Buccellato.
Yeah, and you said only read Manipul's run and Buccellato. After that, don't read anything else. I was like, you know what? Yeah, you definitely gave me a good tip for that. And
did one of those guys do the Gorilla Grodd arc when we first see Grodd?
Yes, he did.
It was such a beautiful arc. I love it so much. It was like everything the New 52 should have been, because it remakes the original Gorilla Grodd arc. It even like redoes scenes from that arc, and it just adds like a modern context and like storytelling stability to it that is beautiful. That's so wonderful, and I wish that like that should have been what the 52 was, like retelling these things in a modern context, like the Ultimate Universe did back when the Ultimate Universe first happened.
Yeah, that's what I feel like the New 52 was supposed to be.
I think they should have played it safe and just took the bullet and let the New 52 kind of be like the Ultimate Universe. In fact, well, it's its own kind of thing, but you still keep the old continuity.
Well, they should have done that from the jump, because that's what the Ultimate Universe was for Marvel. It was pretty much.
And that's why it worked.
It worked
for a while. It lasted, until. Until everything with that,
I have a comment here. I want to talk about from Tebia saying that no one gives a damn about New 52 Earth 2 characters, and I gotta tell you, I give a damn about them because they were great. James Robinson was doing an amazing job recontextualizing the JSA in a modern context, like the Ultimate Universe kind of stuff we were just talking about. He was doing an amazing thing with giving Alan Scott and Jay Garrick like this amazing inner life, and like actually making them stand as heroes on their own after like decades of being, they're the old guys, they're the mentors, but now like they're the heroes again, like they're the main spotlight characters now. And then DC decided that they needed more Batman and Superman and all this Justice League bullshit, and they destroyed the universe, and then they created another Batman because Tom, what's his name? Tom whatever, decided that he needed to, gratiate his Superman fetish, and he created his own Superman. And then that all imploded. And then it sucks because James Robinson was putting in the work. He was creating like a new version of the Nazis in his book, in order to like give that sense of like World War II aesthetic and tone, like the Neo-Prussians, shit like that. And he was going to create his new version of Crisis on Two Earths. That was originally what Trinity War was going to be. It was going to be Crisis on Three Earths.
Word?
Yes,
that
that was
makes sense now after reading Trinity War.
yeah, that was going to be like a three-way fight between Earth 2, Earth 1, and Earth 3. That kind of thing. Yeah,
That
Tom
would be
Taylor.
interesting. I kind of sad you told me that now. I would have
Yeah.
liked
Oh my
that.
gosh.
What? But then DC and Tom Taylor just totally destroyed Earth 2. And it's never recovered.
Anywho, I want to jump back to like some titles, or better yet, let's talk about some heroes having like multiple titles. Like for instance, you have the Bat books with Batman, Batgirl, Detective Comics, and Nightwing. You have the Green Lantern books where you can have not 2, but like 4 to 5 books. You have GL Core, Red Lantern,
yeah,
New Guardians, and a Sinestro book, which I still haven't read yet, but actually having the chance to read, all of GL Core, I could say I prefer the first half over the second half of Green Lantern Core.
Yeah.
I haven't read New Guardians. I mean, I only read the only issues of New Guardians I've read were the tie-ins with Wrath of the First Army, and I mean not Wrath of the Rise of the Third Army and Wrath of the First Lantern. But because I know Elvis, you told me like don't bother reading New Guardians. I'm just like
you don't. It gets so much worse. And I think I think that reading all the main like GL books, not like Red Lantern, like reading all of them up until like Third Army, like you could, but after Third Army, none of them matter whatsoever.
You really, and you are right about that. Even I could say, because I was really thinking about getting Lights Out, but I'm like, you know what? Let me not waste my money on getting a Lights Out anyway, because I already know Lights Out basically destroys the entire emotional spectrum in the DC universe. So I didn't bother with that,
and it's never recovered.
And it still hasn't recovered to this day. It still hasn't recovered.
Lanterns back,
but yeah. So I want to talk about titles that definitely did surprise me. The titles like I never really thought I was going to give a chance. Batman and Robin by Peter Tomasi.
Oh.
After reading his Superman book, during Rebirth, I decided to give that book a chance. And oh my God, why is it everything that Peter Tomasi writes turns to gold? Because the father-son story arcs in that series is just doggone beautiful. Just beautiful.
Yeah, I agree. He really nailed kind of a big problem people had with Bruce coming back after his whole Batman rip, all that shit with past Batman, whatever. They didn't like the idea of Bruce and Damian because they felt like they were too similar to the whole, idea like, oh yeah, Dick's a kind of kinder Batman, but Damian's a more meaner Robin. So people didn't really like the idea of Bruce coming back and teaming up with Damian. I think he beautifully wrote probably one of the best relationships in the Bat family.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably like a big reason why I do love Damian. And it took time, but I actually do love Damian a lot, and his run is a big part of that.
Yeah, until DC ruined him again.
I'm at the point where it's like a bumpy ride with him. I've accepted that. I think his current book is probably pretty good. So.
I haven't gave it a shot, so I can't really.
Is that the one where he has like a dragon as a pet? Is that
no, not that one. The current Robin book.
Yeah, he's on Murder Island, basically.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat Robin.
Well, it might be better than the movie. All right.
Oh, I mean, that's so easy. I promise you, it's better than that. You know what? Don't get me. I'm a big Mortal Kombat fan. Don't talk about that movie. We're good. DC deserves some spotlight. Jesus Christ, that movie.
Yeah, but honestly, I got like the way how Tomasi was able to take that relationship and kind of like the point you brought up, Tex, because Dick was, Damian's Batman, so the relationship definitely had to develop even more for Damian, or better yet, Damian had to go through more stages just to, get used to having his father around, because Bruce was kind of pretty much quote unquote gone. There was no Batman. The only Batman around was Dick. So with Bruce back and Alfred telling, Damian, like, you need to be here for this boy. Like the same thing that you used to do for like Dick and for Jason and for Tim, you're going to have to do that same thing with this one, whether you like it or not. And it worked. Like it really, really worked from like the beginning and then going into Damien's death. You see like Bruce go through a whole mourning period of like trying to different methods of trying to bring Damien back. You have Barbara, Jason, Dick telling Bruce like, dude, you cannot do this. If you do this, it's not going to be the same Damien. To like, you know, him going through like to the ends of the earth trying to find where Damien's corpse is. Batman and Robin is definitely one of those titles that really, really surprised me, and I loved every minute of it. Like even the tie-ins with Death of the Family, even though sometimes I find tie-ins to be pointless, the book was still great. Like it was really, really great.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody else have opinions on the Batman and Robin book?
No, you got it right. I will say one thing, not to denigrate it. I do think it was a really well done book. I think that it had a really amazing like afterlife, and I think that the silent issue, like after Damien dies, powerful, like, grade A stuff. But this is just me going a little bit of tangent, but I think that Tomasi ruined Glorious Godfrey like to an insane degree. So much so that Dan DiDio and Keith Giffen had to create a fake version of Glorious Godfrey to replace.
I forgot how much of a big Fourth World fan you are. I forgot about that.
I am, and so when I saw like why is this Glorious Godfrey? It could have been Vermin Wunderbar. I don't know why it had to be Glorious Godfrey when it acts nothing like him. That's the only thing I have to comment about that, though. You're right; it's a great book. Otherwise,
yep. Oh, we get a question on any opinion on New 52 Superboy. I don't care about New 52 Superboy.
He died. He died.
I'm pretty sure he did actually. New 52 Superboy was. He's one of the books. It's like he's one of the books that reaps edgy. Like, what did Supergirl say? Oh yeah, Supergirl is the one I named him Con L, and
because
what's that edgy?
It means abomination.
Yeah, it's like, okay, really? Yeah, all that work. Really? Like, is that necessary? Like, come on.
Like, the last thing I remember about Superboy is that Lobdell had this story arc, and when he was, like, in firm control of Superman line, where, like, they all went, like, in time to make sure that Bizarro didn't kill baby Superman. Like, that's the last thing I remember.
Yeah, New 52 Superboy was... I'm not going to say I hate it. I definitely enjoyed him and his solo adventures more so than I enjoyed him on the team.
Really?
Of Teen Titans. I didn't like Teen Titans.
I'm surprised you actually preferred the solo book. I mean, that Teen Titans book has got to be one of the worst Teen Titans.
I mean, I'm sure ever. Some of it for me is bias because, for me, it's like superhero teams, X-Men, Titans, and it's just that book is just so... I don't know. Superboy, I guess, had interesting ideas, and Connor or Connell, whatever the fuck, he was pretty likable.
I just did not like that. I just didn't like that suit. I did not like that.
Oh, that suit is just... See, this is what I'm saying. This is basically DC's Ultimate Universe. Like that suit. I'm looking at it right now. Actually, it's just so... I don't know. Like
what? Look, I know people say the jeans and t-shirt is stupid for Superboy. Hey, if it worked in the Young Justice cartoon, it could work for me.
No, the jeans t-shirts is a solid update. I hate the fact that people have like made the leather jacket thing like emblematic when that was good because it was the 90s. Like that was like a really
I'm glad statement. Somebody's saying it. Like I like that design. Like if there was a Teen Titans game, a Titans game, Young Justice game, whatever, I'd use it as a skin.
Exactly.
But for that to be his like main suit again, it just does not fit in this time. It
feels corny.
It really doesn't.
Yeah, it's not a timeless. It's just not timeless, man. Like I can understand. Like I'm not the biggest fan of the underwear on the outside for Superman, but I do think the design can work regardless. I don't think with that Superboy look, man. I'm surprised he still got it.
Yeah, and I hated the fact that Bendis used it as like a shield for his Titans run.
That's the perfect way to explain what that was. Just cover my bases. Like there you go. Cover that.
Like you had so many like articles and comments and like threads about like how great Bendis's Teen Titans is because Connor is back in his classic costume, and the story is just shit.
It is. It's
literally just take off the jacket. That's a font too, right there. I just the jacket, whatever. But yeah.
But yeah,
yeah.
I feel like New 52 really did ruin like the teenage superheroes. What was that other book with Beast Boy where it was red?
What was that? Not the Outsiders. It was something.
Ravagers.
The Ravager, yes.
Ravagers.
Oh my gosh.
Nah, well, I don't think that book was good. I actually did kind of like what they were trying to do with Beast Boy's powers and streamlining them to the red to connect them with the other animal-based heroes. I don't think red looks that good on him, but that's probably because I'm used to the green.
It doesn't.
But
it was fine.
Yeah, I did like the idea though. Like it was streamlining him with Animal Man, Vixen, all those other animal-based characters. I like that idea. I think it gives the DC universe a certain kind of lore that sometimes it just kind of forgets. But yeah, the book wasn't that good either.
It was so bad that they had to like kill off half the cast.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Remember the culling? Everyone remembers the culling.
Jesus.
And wasn't Terra also in that book as well?
Yeah, her and Beast Boy, I'm pretty sure they had a positive relationship for most of it, but I didn't get past like issue 3. So this is nice.
It's always like those obscure titles that doesn't really last that long, which is same.
On the opposite end, I was reading Demon Knights because I'm a big Etrigan fan.
Actually, since you brought that up, I want you to explain your thoughts on Demon Knights because I know that's
good.
Oh yeah, Demon Knights was. As an Etrigan fan, I thirst for that kind of content for that character. He's not even the main focus most of the time, but he's always on the cover. So fuck it, I'm gonna say it's an Etrigan book. The other guys are just sidekicks.
Okay, so I need to ask your opinion, Tex, on this. Do you think Al Jabbar should have been Roz?
I think it could have worked.
I think it would have. I think it would have been great. I know they're having the whole thing like all the people on the team are immortal except for this one guy, and that's kind of like the joke. And there's a point where like he becomes the literal demon's head and everything.
Actually, like that. When you explain it like that, I think that actually would have been a good twist. Like, because Ra's al Ghul, his origin is one of them things that you like. DC doesn't, in my opinion, they never really cleared it up.
Exactly,
it's kind of just implied. So that would have been interesting. I actually would have liked that.
Me too.
I don't know. That would have been cool. Actually, that's a good idea. Maybe I don't know.
I was disappointed when that didn't end up happening. But yeah, no. I really did like Demon Knights as well. It was one of the other titles that Venditti ruined when he got on it. Because with Demon Knights, it was always like from the beginning, like this. The best way to describe it was the world's shittiest D&D campaign.
Oh God, I love that. I love how you said that's a great analogy.
Because like they're all working against each other. Like there's plans. They're all doing random stuff. There's a part where they go to a tavern and like all hell breaks loose because they just can't stop being idiots.
Wasn't Vandal on the team?
Vandal, that's the best version of Vandal Savage because he's like a barbarian. Like
Vandal Savage was on the team.
Yeah, everyone on the team is an immortal.
That's a joke. Yeah, so it's like, that's why the Ra's al Ghul thing would have been even funnier.
Yeah,
cool
and then Venditti gets on the team, gets on the book, and it becomes just another really bad melodrama.
Yeah, poor Demon Knights.
Yeah. I'm glad Tom Taylor isn't ruining it because everyone was guessing that was going to be Demon Knights. But it was like, thank God it's not. His new book.
People always think that Tom Taylor's going to ruin something. Like when people don't give Tom Taylor enough credit. Like
what credit?
Oh, here we go.
What credit?
No, okay. Look. Despite Elvis, your opinions on Tom Taylor, I actually really do appreciate his writing. Like,
don't listen to any Marvel stuff. Don't listen to any Marvel stuff. We're talking about DC.
Okay, I can't say his Marvel stuff because I haven't read any of his Marvel stuff.
Wolverine's good. Wolverine's good.
That's what I'm looking forward to reading. I want to read his Wolverine one, but his work on Injustice.
Modern books as well, because I'm enjoying Son of Kal-El right now.
Oof, really?
I only read the first issue of that.
Even with the thoughts and prayers bullets.
Well, what you saying like bad?
Look. I only read the first issue of Son of Kal-El. I didn't even bother to continue reading the rest. I'm like, I don't think this series is for me because
I can pull it up.
But look, I could say Tom Taylor has decent, writing, especially with Injustice.
Ooh.
I know the runs of the years the issues of Injustice that he wrote. We all know that after he leaves Injustice, it kind of goes off the rails.
Who wrote Nightwing's Death?
Nightwing's Death?
Oh Lord.
The
Oh,
one where
Forever
he,
Evil?
the one no
Forever
in,
Evil.
in Injustice where he
The one
tripped.
where
Oh,
Batman killed.
died.
okay. Oh boy.
Who wrote that? Was that Tom
The next
Taylor?
Oh my gosh.
The next snap. Oh man.
Who
Jesus.
wrote that? Was it Tom
Injustice
Taylor?
deserves his own podcast one day. That is a story, bro. That I
Oh, trust me.
Jesus.
We're gonna have to do when we do one text whenever you guys if you guys want to be a part of it. Whenever we decide to do Injustice, we're probably just gonna have to go through like year by year, not the entirety of the thing. We'll have to go like through the year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4. But yes, Tom Taylor was the one that wrote Nightwing getting his neck broken
by falling down. He fell down.
Damien throws his Eskrima stick at his head. He gets lopsided. He trips, and then his neck snaps.
the greatest acrobat in the world. I actually don't hate the death. I just think it's funny. It's like one of those ironic.
I think it's just silly.
No, that's the thing. Like Injustice, I understand people liking it because it's so stupid. I'm not gonna say it's good writing. It's like it's over the toply dumb. And I can understand that, but like it's not good writing. That's the point. People like it because it's not good writing.
Okay, I got you. So actually, I want to bring up some more obscure titles, some that I haven't read, like Justice League Dark. I know Elvis or AJ, if you guys have read Justice League Dark,
I have.
what was your opinion? Okay, so share your opinions on it, because I know since you have kind of mostly negative opinions on Justice League, what were your thoughts on JLD?
Worse, like somehow worse. Like you could tell Jeff Johns was trying to make like a really fun action adventure superhero comic. Like that was his goal or one of his goals, and he tries really hard to do that. That's why it's nothing but like laser lights and punch 'em ups and like big boisterous personalities, that kind of stuff. Justice League Dark is just really bad, like lore building. Like it tries to be like interesting story wise, but every story decision is either really cliche or really boring. And that's it. That even when you have like really good writers like Jim DeMatteis, getting onto the run, onto the series, it's still really boring and still like just really trite like storylines. Like there's nothing cohesive. The team never feels like an actual team. Never makes sense as a team. They just feel like random characters that are just leftovers, that kind of stuff. And it's really a shame.
Ouch. AJ, you have opinions on JLD?
I never read New 52 Justice League Dark. What was it? Rebirth was the first time I really got on that book.
They put a Wonder Woman on the team. I've actually read some of that too. Actually,
yeah.
So far,
but I think New 52 Jeff Johns in general is when I kind of start to get off of his writing. As Aquaman was the exception. That was a good book.
You what? Get off on his writing?
Get off of his writing. Not as big a fan of his writing anymore. Let me rephrase that.
I mean, share your thoughts, because I actually do want to hear this.
Yeah, I don't know if it's between him. I talked about this on our podcast before. Him taking on more duties as far as the DC entertainment side of things, as well as trying to still do comics, but a lot of it just feels nonsensical. The work he's been doing lately. So yeah, I just stopped being a fan of his work as much. Let's put it that way.
That's understandable. I can definitely understand. I wanted to talk about Green Arrow, but of course I haven't read New 52 Green Arrow, and plus Ro's not here, so I don't even know if he has read New 52 Green Arrow or not. But
I can tell
I've
you
read
a little
some
about
of it.
that. Yeah,
I've read some of it too.
Yeah. You go, Tex.
Well, New 52 Green Arrow to me it's one of those times where I can like this character. I can like him. I can like this book. But is it really Green Arrow though? It's one of those times. It's like when people say they like New 52 Superman, if he just wasn't Superman. It has some nice ideas. And some of this I'm actually connecting with Red Hood and Outlaws because, I'm a big Roy Harper fan, and how all of that kind of went down.
We're going to have a talk about Red Hood and the Outlaws.
Yeah. Green Arrow was just... I actually don't hate it, but I will say it's definitely... I don't know, just weird. Maybe I think halfway through the book realized like it wanted to like make the book about how he becomes the Green Arrow we know and love, I guess. but it's kind of weird because every other DC character is already kind of in that state where they're like, yeah, this is Superman, this is Batman, this is Wonder Woman, and it feels like their Green Arrow was still like throughout the whole New 52, no matter what arc, no matter how many years he's apparently been a hero, he always felt like it was still like his first year on the job to me. I don't know. Like as a character, I'm not the biggest Green Arrow fan, but I don't think the book was bad, but I do think it was kind of, it's one of those weird spots in the New 52. I don't know. Like I look back at it, it's just I can't hate it, but I can't love it either.
Yeah,
it's like in the middle.
Definitely agree. You can spotlight these two comments as well from Nova, because they're pretty spot on too. Of text, saying that Nova's comment here saying that Lemire's stuff was the best of it and that it wasn't that great, and I agree with that comment because the first like half of like the run was just your very generic by the book superhero stuff. Like it was okay, and then Lemire comes on to it and he tries to do like an ultimate universe kind of thing, like a Manipul Bucciolato kind of thing, where he's reintroducing stuff and he's really trying to make it a cohesive like retelling of a lot of elements. You get like classic villains reimagined, stuff like that. But it's still very early days feeling. Like it doesn't feel like Green Arrow. He said like Tex was saying, it feels like a year one Green Arrow.
Yeah, that's like, how many issues did it have for it to feel like that?
Let me look it up. I think I just had it. Things right here. Damn it, where'd it go? It had like about 40 issues.
Yeah, and it just felt like that all the way through for me.
Yeah, some series ran for 40. If they went past 40, they're only going to like 50 or 52.
Yeah.
Oh no, it had 52. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, nice. But yeah, it was fine. But here, Tevye was asking about opinions on Animal Man and Swamp Thing. Mind if I
Go ahead.
that one?
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So Animal Man and Swamp Thing. Now those were two series that were interconnected. You had Lemire and Snyder really trying to work together to create like the occult supernatural side of the DCU, better than Justice League Dark did. It was insane that they didn't even like try to include that. But Animal Man and Swamp Thing are really where the work was being done. And it all culminated in this big crossover event between the two called Rot World.
Okay. I've read some of that actually.
And
pages of it.
Yeah. And I have to say overall, they're both good books, but right around Rot World is where a lot of fans agree that both books really suffer because Rot World is like 13 issues in total, and it just loses a lot of steam momentum. And because the books themselves were very introspective character pieces. Like they were very much about like Buddy and Alex like inner lives, their families, just how they're going about things. And Rot World is like this big epic event, and it just doesn't gel at all. But they're both really good books. I really enjoy Swamp Thing. I think it's Snyder's best work in years.
Okay. I can agree with that. Red Hood and the Outlaws. Mother of mercy. After reading, I think I only read like probably the first 3 issues of that series.
I think you got me beat by about an issue.
After what they did to Starfire in that, just by that design alone, I couldn't keep reading.
I read the entirety of it, and
I read most of it too. I will say, Rebirth was great. New 52, not so good.
Okay, yeah, Lobdell fixed that with his Rebirth run of Red Hood and the Outlaws. But New 52, I just only read three issues of that. I'm just like, what the hell?
Yeah,
did he do?
It's like an anime. It's an anime nerd's wet dream because you have like fucking Roy going to like an ancient ninja village and becoming an ancient ninja wizard with a magic sword, and like what is even going on?
Yeah, that book did not know what it wanted to be. I have 3 very different opinions on those characters. Some may be controversial. I love Roy Harper,
and the thing with Roy wearing a different trucker.
The fact that it took even past Rebirth, he still had it in Rebirth or something similar, like just
the
a
trucker
cat
hat was
like
good.
I
The trucker hat was good. Good character design. I love it. He's a salt of the earth kind of guy.
No, Roy is.
He's a hard traveling hero.
They have the audacity to give him a trucker hat after that bullshit they pulled in the post-crisis continuity with all that Leon killing, like all the shit with Prometheus. I can't accept it.
We have
Roy has never healed from that. Like even
Roy
with this,
is like
maybe currently.
We had to move on from it because
look, Roy is kind of like going through the same problems that Wally is going through. Like he hasn't gotten closure.
That what to
And
do
it
with him.
sucks.
Like I think Roy's getting close to it because they revealed his daughter's alive. Some fucking how. Whatever. I'll
who
take
cares?
it. Yeah, I mean, it's been like 15 years. I don't know why they care all of a sudden. But
is it worth retconning him hugging a dead cat? Is it? Where are we gonna draw a line?
I love Roy. I'm a big fan of Starfire, one of my favorite female characters. I'm one of the people. I think Jason should have stayed dead. I think ever since he's come back, he's been nothing but a problem that DC doesn't know how to fix. Does he want to be a vigilante? Is he a part of the Bat family? He's broken up. Him and Batman have had this same fucking fight like 3 times now. That's the base problem with the book. All 3 of its main characters, DC just threw them together. Like Roy again. It's like they were. I don't even get anything they did with Roy, but the main lead and Jason. I mean, Starfire was just eye candy, which okay, sure, I guess.
That artist was down bad, bro.
He was, bro, wasn't he, bro?
Oh
Like,
my god,
my god. But like Jason as a character, he's never done it for me. Like I get it. He's like DC Punisher. I guess, but
I say with DC Winter Soldier if
Winter
Soldier was in his baggage.
Yeah, like DC Winter Soldier, whatever. Like he's cool, but I think his base problem of his character is like, it's because they did not know what to do with him. Like, wow, you're giving Jason Todd magical swords in his hands. Like, why? Why does he need them? Why is he?
And it gets worse at the end of the Rebirth run when Lobdell's like, I'm leaving the book, time to bring all that anime shit back. Like,
you forgot I had these. Nobody liked these, man. You were good. You were safe. You made it.
Why'd you have to change it up?
Yeah, it's the team had no chemistry. I'm one of the people. I don't like this current idea that Jason Todd and Roy Harper are like best friends.
That no. They are not.
They just don't have the chemistry for me. Like that's another. Actually, going back to it, another problem with Jason that works with his book. He always gets Dick's seconds. He gets Dick's girlfriend that he already had. He gets Dick's second best friend. He's just like make Jason his own character. Stop playing up. Oh yeah, he's the second Robin, so he gets seconds. Like they might as well put Wally in the book with him. Like why does Jason have to get shit they don't want to give to Dick? Like, we can't have Starfire and Nightwing together. Give it to Jason.
Good. Barbs for life, all right? Okay.
Oh, are you sure? Because the DC love playing around with that bullshit and 3 Jokers. Oh yeah, let's get these 2 together. Like and they
don't even. Why
stop
do you have to
giving
remind
Jason
me of that mess
seconds,
that happened?
bro.
They're going to fix that in 3 Jokers Part 2. Okay.
I'm okay. Yeah, watch. Jason, I'm pregnant. Oh my god!
I don't even want a part 2 of 3 Jokers. I really don't.
Man, did you see how well it sold? Yeah, we're getting part 2 of that.
I think people were so hooked on the concept that the actual quality of the book did not matter, bro.
I'm hearing people still say it was like one of DC's best minis in years. I'm like, I'm wondering how. I saw it just the other week. Someone posted like a little tweet about like 3 Jokers is like amazing book. He really redefined DC. Like, what the hell? Who are you?
Shut up.
That had 3 Jokers.
It happened.
3 Jokers is like. First of all, that book wasn't. No. First of all, that book wasn't even supposed to be canon, as they kept kind of. That book is such a mess. Like, so we hear about the 3 Jokers thing during Darkseid War. Yeah. We don't hear nothing about it for 4 years later, and it's in a ambiguously uncanon, maybe canon story. What was the point? You could have just left it.
They made it a black label, and it has no connection to the main titles.
I don't.
At the very least, it happened, and Aquaman fans are still waiting for the ending to Jeff Johns' Aquaman run.
Okay, when it got to Aquaman and the others, that's where I kind of felt like
Well, like
Yeah.
we never got the final arc to his run. We'd have an omnibus,
Okay.
and no one ever says he didn't finish his run. No one
That's
ever
actually kind of
reaches anyone.
sad. Like, if you really like that run or just wanted a sense of completion, it's just not there. That's kind of
Yeah,
sad.
it
actually.
Look,
doesn't.
after reading all of Jeff Johns' Aquaman run and the fact to see the others for the first time, I actually like the idea of like Aquaman having like his own, Aqua Justice League kind of team. And
So I like
again,
that because he does need like more villains and more supporting characters. So I can actually agree with that.
yeah, we all not just. I mean, I never get. I mean, I love Black Manta, but sometimes, yeah, you gotta. That's
I love
that's the
Black-
same problem. That's the same problem Wonder Woman has with her villains. Like
Oh,
everybody
Jesus.
thinks it's all about Cheetah and Ares. I'm like, she has other villains. Like,
Actually, that's one thing I'll give the New 52. With many of their characters who didn't have the strongest rogues gallery they tried, I'll actually stand up and say I enjoyed quite a bit of New 52 Wonder Woman. It just had the same problem that I have with fucking Green Arrow. Is it really Wonder Woman? But
Man, Azzarello did the best Wonder Woman in a long time.
I agree because it had great lore. I
Yes.
love the first. What was his name? The firstborn, the first son, whatever.
yeah, Force
As
the
a
Firstborn,
villain.
that was his name.
I love the new Ares.
I gotta say, I got butt in a little bit. Azraello wrote a completely shitty Orion, but
Oh, okay.
overall good.
I mean,
Overall
to
good.
be fair-
we'll give you the fourth world stuff, Elvis. We'll give
To
you
be
that.
fair, no. To be fair, I'll give him that because I haven't seen anybody write a good Orion in a minute. That's one of my problems with the Mr. Miracle book.
A person did write a good Orion, but it turned out that he was also an alt-right Comicsgate piece of shit.
Oh, God.
That sucks. Like that, I was like, it did. We didn't learn that until like years later. Like so, but like for like good 3 years, I'm like, this is the best Orion I ever fucking read. In
Which
like,
book was this in?
It was. I don't want to mention the book, because like I don't want to give this guy any press.
Oh, okay, yeah, I feel you. It's
No, I
fine.
feel you.
But like
Yeah.
it sucked because that was like the best Orion we've ever had in like since like the 80s. Whatever.
I can see what you mean. I mean, I wasn't a big, Wonder Woman reader. The first time I actually read a Wonder Woman book was Rebirth. The only action I really got with Wonder Woman was in, the Justice League book. And I felt like she was actually kind of outshining everybody in that title for some reason. I don't know why. She was
I think
outshining
they wanted to push her more because she was like, she's a part of the Trinity.
Yeah, but
she's never been
feels
like
so underdeveloped. Like when you see the Justice League, the only two people that stand out, of course, are Clark and Bruce, not Diana.
It's like, I enjoyed the New 52 Wonder Woman book. I think I especially love the more delve into Greek lore. There are a few changes I would make. I'm not really one of the people that thinks Wonder Woman should have kept her old origin, but I would change her father. I don't think it should be Zeus.
It shouldn't be Zeus.
I think it would have been an interesting take.
If it was me.
Oh, Jesus. I mean, yes, maybe. I actually would have made her father Ares and had the whole idea.
kind of like connected to like that animated Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah, because Wonder Woman at the end of the day, especially at her peak when she's evolved as a character, she's fighting for peace. I think her being the daughter of a god of war, it could have been really interesting. Her and Zeus's relationship has never really been fleshed out, even in the Rebirth run. They're kind of like, they had that one meeting where it's like, yeah, you're my daughter. I'll fight Darkseid for you. Oh shit, Darkseid just killed me. Well, there we go.
I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I'm daughter. I'm leaving forever. Yeah. Goodbye.
Goodbye. The Greek gods are leaving. You were never here. Like what? What have you done?
You mean leaving? Y'all were never here.
Like I just don't get it.
So let's talk about crossover story arcs. The New 52 had a plethora of those. Let's start with the first one, Death of the Family, which basically. Oh my gosh. I never thought they would actually do something like this with the Joker. And of course, when the story was coming out, you just got that image of like Joker behind so many screens. And of course, you have that picture of him holding his stitched up face in his hands.
Pure Joker edge. That was actually, I got chills when I saw it, to be real with you.
And to find out that all of that was just, even to the part where, he has everybody sitting in chairs. And
I hate that fake out. I hate that.
That fake out was terrible.
Like, okay, we both, if you're not gonna go through with it, don't try to act like
don't do it.
That fake out, because there's no reason in story that Joker didn't do it. Oh, he was just fucking with you. He didn't take nobody's face, anybody. I think at the
Like-
very least he would take Jason's face. Like, yeah, fuck
like
it. I
I
fucked with you
know that
twice.
was just used as for shock value, but
Yeah, like, oh, Father, tell me, how do I look? I can take it. You look fine. I don't know. What was the point of this? What was the point of this?
I mean, look, Death of the Family was what a story event that was.
I will
And-
say, if you like creepy Joker, it's the creepiest Joker was there for a while. So
Yeah, and we're never gonna get that again. Well, then again, it depends on whoever writes Joker, because people write Joker differently. Some people like to write Joker as someone who antagonizes Batman, to torture him, to just play around, to try to say he's his equal, yada 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 yada
Yeah.
yada.
I mean, I like the idea that Joker was going after the family because he felt like they got in the way of what he and Batman had.
Yes,
I do like that idea. I think it really fits the Joker.
It was interesting just to say, like, you know what, you have this whole family and they never appreciated you and they kept interfering with the bond that we have. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna cut off my face to prove a point and take away all these individuals, including the one that's basically your surrogate father.
Yeah.
You know my favorite
Yeah,
story.
it was Joker War, but good actually.
I haven't actually. It's never on the subject. I want to. Do you guys ever hear the story behind the stitched up face?
No, I
No,
did not.
No.
Okay, so it's really funny. Apparently, for I think either detective whatever the whichever one had like the Joker cut his face off in the first issue.
Oh yeah, that was Detective.
Who was the person who was writing? I think Tony Bedard or something like that. Was like, okay, we need to get Joker out of the way. Pick from a list of ways you want to write him off. And if either Snyder or someone at DC had that list, and Tony Bedard picked cut off face. And that's the only reason why that exists. Because on a list of ways to write the Joker off for like a year and a half, so that Snyder could build up Death of the Family, he picked cut off face.
Wow. Well,
That
it
was
works.
a dark individual who that was his first choice.
That's what I'm saying. It's like people who come up with like Mortal Kombat fatalities. It's like really, you came up with that with your first try?
I mean, they
I
were
want to
thinking
know.
about this.
I want to know what else was on that list.
So I'm saying, like, what else could you
I would like to know what was on that list as well.
That could be a funny
Wow.
inside joke for the future, I guess.
I want to bring up the previous mentioned Lantern crossovers, Rise of the Third Army and Wrath of the First Lantern. As I was rereading just the Jeff Johns run of GL, I wasn't gonna read the entire New 52 run of GL because, like Elvis said, Venditti, he destroyed the emotional spectrum, and I didn't like that at all. But I find it crazy that pretty much the real enemy of the Green Lanterns was the Guardians the entire time. Like everything was their fault. As like right from the beginning when Jeff Johns started writing Green Lantern, everything that the Guardians were saying, like, we got to prevent this from happening, was their fault. The Blackest Night was their fault. The War of Light was their fault. The thing with Voltum, everything was their fault.
Yeah,
Everything was their fault.
they made most of the villains were their fault. Like,
Yeah, pretty much. Like everything that they were trying to avoid was basically because of them, and it's because they had, quote unquote, they were without emotion. And then this whole scheme of, like, you know what?
didn't they lobotomize Ganthet or something?
Yeah, they did. Like they erased Ganthet's emotions from his system, but of course he got them back later on in the end. But like they erased Ganthet's emotions. Then they're like, we need to create a new version of the Corps. We have to create a third army. And to do that, we have to take out the Green Lantern Corps. We're gonna paint the universe in a full emotionless void. I'm like, y'all basically doing the same thing that Black Hand and Necron were doing, but worse. Like what the hell? And then on top of that, you're using a Lantern's power that's basically just feeds off emotion. And speaking of Wrath of the First Lantern, actually reading every issue of it, I feel like the Green Lantern portions were just the only focus points. Every other portion was just dull.
Exactly. Like Jeff Johns, I think when he realized that this is the last chance I have to really make this a coherent story without destroying everything at the finish line. He just like, fuck it, I'm not coordinating with anybody. I'm racing to the finish line. I'm just, this is my destination. I'm heading toward it. I have no time to coordinate shit. Just read. I need to write all this out in one go, and I think that's what happened.
Yeah, and like you have Voltum feeding off the emotions of Carol and Guy and John and Atrocitus, showing them different realities of what would happen. Like he's giving all these Lantern characters what if scenarios. And meanwhile, you have Hal in the dead zone trying to tell Tomar, like, hey, I think I got to go back out there, but I don't know how. Like, I think I had to kill myself in order for me to get back out there. Like, you have Hal become a Black Lantern. And I love how they kind of tease that when Black Hand was looking in the book, starting to say, like, what is the book trying to tell me? Like, Hal Jordan will be the best Black Lantern ever. I'm like, how does that? I'm like, and then it all comes into fruition.
Yeah, I love that.
In the end, I'm like, wow. That is incredible.
There's also because I want to bring that up. Like when I think Adrian was talking about like why Jeff Johns is writing fumbles sometimes now. And I think it's because one thing about Jeff Johns' writing that you really notice, especially now, is that he feeds on things happening in the past that he can bring back.
Yeah,
and the fact that he had
past stuff. That's basically why he brought back Hal.
Exactly. But like at the New 52. There's like nothing he can mine from. There's nothing he can like, actually build from or like have a story kind of set around and be constructed from. And so that's why a lot of his stories in the 52 just don't work because there's nothing there. He has to create stuff and he's not really great at like building stuff at the base level. He has to like, he works better in an already set up universe.
I can understand that. Yeah. I will say that's probably one of the reasons his Wally West book has such high strengths.
Oh yes, because he added so much. He added more things to Wally's legacy.
Yeah, but yeah, I love Jeff, but the New 52 is not his best work, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's what we can all say.
Not like Geiger, 3-time Eisner Award-winning Geiger.
Let's talk about Forever Evil.
Go.
Yeah.
Forever Evil is
amazing.
I know I've kind of been along with like hurting on shitting on New 52. I actually did enjoy New 52 as a whole, but if it's like Forever Evil is a perfect example of like a diamond in the rough, man. That story is God.
To make
I never thought we get it.
Look, if you told me that a team of Lex, Black Adam, Manta, Captain Cold, Sinestro, Slade, and Batman would fight against a crime syndicate, I would have thought, yeah, I would joke. I mean, yeah, I'll take Batman out of there because I would take Batman out of there.
Hey, Batman has, I mean, there's a quick problem with that. He's just, he had that. I'm the one survivor of the league, I'm gonna be here either way. But
him and Catwoman. Like,
let's call it what it is. It's the Legion of Doom versus the Crime Syndicate, and that's like the coolest premise for an
it really
like
is.
This.
It is,
and that's why I hate Snyder's Justice League run so much because he has like a really boring Legion of Doom.
I
love his Justice League. Like I had my
expectations. I had my expectations too high for that Legion of Doom because when he said at that Comic-Con that he was bringing back the Legion of Doom, I'm like, ooh, I'm excited.
And then it's like, what is Doom? It's a feeling that we feel because
he made Lex. Look, Lex was at his peak during Forever Evil, and during I don't know what they've done to my boy Lex. This preachy. I don't get it. Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, me and Martian Manhunter, we have a past together. I don't know where the fuck that came from.
I don't believe none of that.
Yeah, it's but Forever Evil is just so good for so many of the characters involved. Snart, I mean, it probably helped me love Captain Cold more. I already loved Lex, big fan of Sinestro. Black Adam's kind of there,
No, that made me that series. I mean, Black Adam did kind of get.
Yeah, after Ultraman kind of folded him and his jaw was broke, he was kind of just there as a punching bag because Mazaz just knocked him. But he was there. Bizarro
was
great.
Amazing.
Bizarro
was amazing.
Like I'm telling you, I'm surprised they still trying to Bizarro world. Bizarro, I'm still surprised he's still a thing.
Yeah.
Clone Bizarro is where it's at. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
That's-
it was amazing. Like, I have no idea why Tomasi decided to do his bullshit in the Superman run when we had this amazing Bizarro already. I would have
Yeah.
loved for that to have been a crossover with like Red Hood and the Outlaws Rebirth, but no, we had like this Bizarro Earth thing. Like, it's bullshit.
Yeah, I never really, even in post crisis, I never really cared for Bizarro. The whole concept of Bizarro, like the square, what was it, like a square planet or whatever? I never really liked that.
Oh, it can work. I mean, it can work because in Jeff Johns' Action Comics run, he combined the two, where like it's clone Bizarro that makes Bizarro Earth, like in space. Like,
Okay, and that concept, that's cool.
Like, that was really that was really great. And I'm like, again, I don't know why Tomasi did what he did.
Yeah, that's how you modernize a kind of silly concept in a cool way.
But yeah, Forever Evil. It made me love Captain Cold. It made me love Black Adam, even though he got sidelined.
I do wish a Wonder Woman villain was on that team because
me too.
Yeah,
that would have been nice.
I think I would like to see like Cheetah or something. Yeah,
I'm still disappointed that Ocean Master had a tie-in and he was teased to be on the team, and then John's like, "Oh, I ran out of issues," so he never shows up on the Legion of Doom.
Yeah, that's one thing. I do wish the team was bigger with a bit more villains in it.
I mean,
Ocean Master was meant to be there. Yeah.
I mean, I do love that spread page in the first issue of the Crime Syndicate, just preaching to all these villains. Like, you got Giganta, the Fatal Five, a whole slew of Batman villains. Heck, I mean, I'm not surprised Joker's not there. I mean, Joker doesn't really need to be at every single supervillain meeting.
I'm so glad he wasn't, because I love the Joker, but I don't think he would fit in that scenario. Like, he's just listening to them. Like,
I mean, it was funny in Infinite Crisis when whatchamacallit, when he was like killing the Royal Flush Gang, and it was like, I wonder why I wasn't invited to all these meetings, and King was like, isn't it funny? I'm like, you want to know why? Everyone knows the Joker's too wild, and this is like Lex tells Joker the reason why, like, this is why you weren't invited. So you and me, we're gonna find my alternate version of myself. We're
burn his face off.
And like burn his face off, and you're gonna kill him.
Next time, invite me. I was like,
like next time you have a super villain meeting, bring the Joker, or else you're done.
Yeah. But again, my favorite part about Forever Evil is that a lot of the tie-ins were actually really, really fun, and I actually made this fan edit. I've shared it with Ro, and I shared it with AJ. I made a fan edit where I took like 80% of the tie-ins and I mixed them together with the main book to create like this big kind of Forever Evil epic. And it really works. It's really fun. You get like this whole kind of serialized story that is very full. Like, it's a very well coordinated event that doesn't feel restrictive. Like, you don't need to read any of this stuff, and all the stuff that connects to other titles that were going on, like, still have actual sort of payoff. But it feels like a world event,
Yeah. I want to bring up another story that I haven't really read all of, and I don't think I plan to at all. Trinity War.
Oh, we were just having fun, man. Come on. Man.
Bad.
Because as Elvis already explained, Trinity War wasn't supposed to be what it was. It's already a mess. I after finally reading it, the full thing, I was like, what the fuck was this? I don't get the point. Like, first of all, why make the question some magical entity? The whole book just confused me. The best part was the last page with the Crime Syndicate.
Yeah, that was really good. But Trinity War, what I really dislike about Trinity War is that it kind of wastes like a really great plot point for Jeff Johns' Shazam, where like you have this idea that Billy wants to honor Black Adam, so he brings Black Adam's ashes to Kondak, and that revives Black Adam because of whatever magic. And then like that could have been like a really great arc in Shazam 2, or a second arc of Shazam, which we wouldn't get for like 8 years, and then Jeff Johns doesn't write it on time for another year and a half, but whatever. And instead it just becomes this whole meandering mess of like, who gives a shit? Like,
the three Justice Leagues fights head to head. Who will come out on top?
It was pointless. I still haven't. I don't plan to read all of it at all ever. I only read the Justice League portions of it.
Speaking of Trinity War, that JL of America team is one of the most.
I liked it a lot.
That was a very interesting concept.
No, because it's not even bad. It's just because that's a very interesting team that I would have never thought of. Like Martian Manhunter,
It's a fun
Catwoman,
book.
I guess she's the bad character.
Hawkman, Stargirl, Simon
Um,
Baz.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty
Catwoman.
interesting team.
It was a fun book.
Yeah, and I like the idea that Amanda Waller and Steve Trevor, every member of this team is there to take down a main member of the Justice League. Some of them don't make sense. I'm gonna be real. Some of the matchups don't make sense. I don't know what the hell Green Arrow is supposed to do to anyone. I was reading it a while ago.
I don't even know why Stargirl is even on that team.
I think Stargirl was like for
Johns. Because Johns loves using Stargirl because his character.
Oh yeah, that's his character.
Oh yeah, because he did create the character.
That's right.
But no, I actually really like JLA because it was like the first taste to like a Legion of Doom story. Because it had the secret society of supervillains, you know.
Yeah.
And like it was very simple. Like you have a great first issue where you see like some guy running through the woods and he's wounded and he's like bleeding out, and then he kind of gets like rescued and he's like Green Arrow, he's dying, he's flatlining. His last words are "they're coming," and like whoa, what's going on? You get like his credits page. And you remember when John used to do credits pages? Like he did it for like I think like his Action Comics run. He did it for Justice League. He did it for JLA. He did it for I think a couple other books. But like we do like, and it was like very impressive. Like you saw like all of like their main weapons, like writer Jeff Johns, artist, colorist. Like it's a really blockbustery kind of book. And again, I really liked it because taking off like that one part of like Justice League where like here's the guy saying. They're calling them superheroes. I guess we're all super villains.
Oh! At the end of the Justice League origin.
Yeah, and I really liked it. It felt like a very fun premise, and it's kind of fun. It's not really.
It was. That's why I love that volume so much. That I've read that the most out of the New 52. I know we're going backwards with these crossovers. Throne of Atlantis. Man, oh man! After reading that story completely all the way through and seeing what really happened, I'm just like, wow! I did not expect that.
It's pointless about Rise of the Seven Seas.
I still find it crazy how the whole Throne of Atlantis. Throne of Atlantis was just a whole misunderstanding.
Yeah, see, that's the one part. I get what he was trying to go for. Like you see how easy it is for a misunderstanding to happen and then the war starts. I get that point, but it also makes. I truly do feel bad for Ocean Master by end of it, and I kind of sympathize with him. Like, yeah, he killed people, but he was honestly under the impression because Ocean Master had no idea how the Earth world worked. Like, he thought Batman was like the leader of the surface. Like, he didn't know how it worked. So it's like he comes up there. He's like, "No, you guys have messed with my people for the last time," and nobody's really explaining it well to him. To be fair, he's not trying to listen, but nobody's really explaining it well. Yada yada, and. I just feel bad for him in there because like he did this for his people. He really thought they were in danger. I agree he should go to jail, but it's like all of that just for because Volko's just
he wanted Arthur to be the king.
I'm sorry, there's no coming back for what Volko did. I'm pretty sure he comes back in future Aquaman stories. I'm like, no, he should be in jail, bro. Like, there's no redemption for that, bro.
I mean, they did lock him up. Like, I read some of the stuff after Johns' run. They still had him locked up for his crimes.
Like that's actually
who Ocean Master?
No, Volko.
Oh yeah, I totally agree with Trex. So I think you're supposed to feel bad for Ocean Master, and that's why
that last page pulls on my strings, man.
Yeah, that's why Johns was setting him up to be like an anti-hero. That's why like in Forever Evil he becomes heroic. He has that one great issue tie-in written by Bedard. That was meant to like tie in. He was meant to be on Legion of Doom, like fighting against Crime Syndicate, but they didn't have time for that shit.
Yeah, I think
they just brought in all the majority of the arch enemies of the heroes.
Yeah. Ocean Master is probably one of the people I believe he's one of the people that I can honestly say I enjoy him so much more in the New 52 than I did in the old continuity where he was more black and white.
Yeah,
I think a modern Ocean Master is it's really interesting. I'm not sure how his story kind of ended or how it's going now with him. Like, he left his adopted son and his wife. He's kind of back to being a villain again.
Yeah, that's right.
He's trying to kill Mara. It's like, okay, well, I guess we just steamroll everything he just went through, but whatever. But as far as the New 52, I think it really did help Ocean Master. And for that matter, I think it did help Black Manta. Black Manta was already cool. But him and Arthur, the Aquaman mythos as a whole just got helped by that. Like,
it's always been Arthur versus Manta.
Yeah.
It's
I
like
really
that's
do
what,
like the blood feud they have now. This is their fathers.
yeah, because like your father killed mine, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill you.
Oh,
It was
also, I'm sorry. Yeah. During
no, go
Throne of
ahead, go ahead.
Atlantis, what was the reason Flash couldn't help?
He was fighting the guerrilla war in a city. That's why Flash
That's
wasn't
right.
there.
Because I was like, I'm sorry, guys. Flash can't make it. I was like,
Oh yeah,
really?
he's handling a guerrilla situation. And speaking of Flash, let's actually talk about some of the stuff that happened in Flash. The fact
Oh,
that he wasn't dating Iris, he was dating Patty.
I love that because they actually do explain why, and it makes complete sense. You
Yeah.
guys remember that?
I
Because
forgot.
the entire thing is that they have a new character who didn't exist now exists, and that character is why Iris and Barry aren't dating. That's why they don't get together, because this new character that only exists in New 52 now exists, and that was the Reverse Flash, the new version of Reverse Flash.
Oh, the Wallace's father.
Wallace's father, who was originally an uncle.
Oh, Daniel West.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I really like that because it kind of also makes it seem like the Reverse Flash is always even was kind of ruining Barry's life from the start.
No matter what form he takes. Yeah, I
Exactly.
actually like that idea too. Shame
Um,
how he went out.
Yeah, no, he could have been really cool, and he actually was kind of cool in Suicide Squad, and just they don't do anything with him.
Yeah, see, that actually goes back to what you were saying about Wallace. That
Yeah.
could have done a lot for Wallace's character, and he didn't even really get an ending with his father. Just, oh yeah, he died in the Suicide Squad book, you know. So
And
it's
yeah,
like,
and Wallace is just slowly angry at Barry because he quote unquote kind of killed his dad. So
yeah, but
but
what you
yeah,
were saying?
the stuff with the rogues of I love that little rogue war that was going on between Leonard and his sister and that doctor that went to Snart saying like, "Hey, I have an opportunity for you to make you guys even stronger."
I love that
And I was
Yeah.
like,
because they're such dummies. Of course they would do. I know everyone's like, oh, they ruined the rogue, so they give them superpowers. But like at
I
this point,
disagree.
everyone is like still really young. Like again, they've only been the rogue for like a year,
Yeah.
and like, oh, you know what? Fuck it. Of course, why not do it? And I think they do a really great job of it because even in the end of the pre 52, like the fact there was this plot point where they had used their guns so much that they didn't need to use them anymore. Like Mirror Master was basically like a mirror god, and Weather Wizard was basically Storm because
pretty much.
Yeah,
like
with
these
his
things
emotions controlling the weather.
exactly. So he had all that stuff happening that they didn't need their guns before, and so like just having this be like a plot point where you have like this scientist who ends up being like this really big villain. It made sense. It consolidated a bunch of stuff without having to re-explain stuff, you know?
It did, and especially since it was a scientist that Barry kind of admired, and then you find out he's
A piece of
the
shit.
real villain. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, great.
Yeah.
The new 52 had to. It really had its work cut out for it as far as Barry Allen's character because with Jeff Johns bringing him back, but unlike Green Lantern Rebirth, it wasn't like as loved when Barry returned. So I think the new 52 really had to like do a modern young Barry Allen correctly.
They did a great job.
I actually Barry's my favorite Flash. I'm glad how he's turned out. I love his relationship with the Rogues. I really do love it. Their whole little. I don't think there are many like relationships between heroes and villains like that in DC and Marvel.
No,
most of them, like Batman and his rogues, like they're rogues, but it's legit like hate between them.
Mm-hmm.
With Flash and especially Captain Cold, the rest of the rogues too, but especially Cold, there feels like a sense of like professionalism between them. Yeah, like I love that line he said back to why Forever Evil is the greatest thing ever written. He's talking to Johnny Quick and he's like, yeah, I mean, you're not the Flash. Me and the Flash have this kind of sense of respect. We never go all out. You're not the Flash. Give me the wrinkles.
And they just fucking murders him.
It's like, no. Me and the Flash, if we wanted to, we could have killed each other, man. But I don't like you.
Voice activates his cold gun, shoots Johnny in the leg, and just breaks his leg. I'm like, wow.
Oh, I know. I love about that because it is a well-earned respect. Because back in the Silver Age, no one likes to talk about this, but back in the Silver Age, they try to kill Barry all the fucking time. And there's one time where they kill accidentally an alternate version of Barry, and they think it's the real Barry, but they murder this guy. They murder an alternate version of Barry. And like, no, the rogues really would have done it, but the fact that they couldn't is why they respect Barry so much, and why they're kind of scared of him. And there was like this discourse like a year ago where people kept on trying to say Barry Allen's like a cop and all cops are bad. And
Oh,
like, okay,
Jesus.
Oh
and like,
god.
there was like
Oh,
that.
God.
It was ridiculous. But one of the things they used was that when Barry Allen came back to life, the Rogues are like all like DEFCON 5. We got Barry on the hatches. Barry's gonna kick all our asses. And I like that made sense because up until that point, this is still the Barry where like they tried to kill him and hurt him on so many occasions. When Wally came around, that's when the Rogues were like, yeah, we're all just gonna be like playing by the rules. But when Barry was around, they fucking really would have gone all out with him.
Yeah.
Def-
So I really respect. While the book may not have been the best, I do love what they did with Barry, and really, like you said earlier with Grodd, I love what they did with his Rogues Gallery. Grodd is already one of my favorites, and I do think Grodd was definitely a character who needed a more modern take, and the whole Speed Force tribe. I thought that was just cool, to be honest. I just like
It
the
was.
idea of it.
That was a nice touch. Really
It
nice
Yeah.
touch.
And just I love the page of him. You know, he's just charged up with lightning charging. Like Grodd is such a cool villain.
I love Solivar. Solivar is so amazing. I love that you don't notice that he is the narrator of the arc until he appears.
Yep.
Like that first page where like you see Solivar and the gorilla tribe's origin, where they get struck by lightning, and it's like such a beautiful page. So it's such great writing. It's like talking about how like you can't force change, or if you can force evolution, sometimes evolution like either happens or it doesn't, and you have to be ready for when things like strike you and motivates you to become something else, and like it's so good. It's so good. And I really wish that Manipool and Buccellato had gone the chance to do season 2, because they wanted to do a season 2 of the Flash. They wanted to introduce Wally. They really did. They loved Wally. They wanted to like really like continue these story threads. And it sucks that Venditti had to like crap all over that. But what I do like is that their run, and this is a structure you can see among all the great Flash runs or modern Flash runs. You see it in Wade, you see it in Johns, and you see it in this. Your first arc is Rogue stuff. Your second arc is Gorilla Grodd stuff, and your third arc, Reverse Flash.
That's basically how you would do a trilogy if he had a movie.
Exactly, which I don't understand why the movies aren't like this.
Please don't remind me of that.
No, I'm sorry. I just got to rant about this. I don't know. This is technically connected to the New 52.
Oh my
Why are people so obsessed with Flashpoint? God, come on, man. It wasn't
like y'all know there's so many other Flash stories out there besides Flashpoint.
Flash's first movie is really about to be a movie with Supergirl, Michael Keaton's Batman, whatever. But
I don't.
I agree with that concept.
I don't care about that movie anymore. It's like to the point I don't care.
Yeah, but I agree with that concept. Like I think the Flash is rogues. I think people always talk about Batman, Spider-Man. Flash is a great rogues gallery and a very consistent one.
He really does.
And it's like, you get that vibe. Honestly, one of my favorite parts would this goes back to what I love, what they've done with the Rogues and Barry's relationship. I love the idea of the Rogues teaming up. Like, let's call a truce. We've got your back against the big gorilla with lightning. That's still kind of crazy. That's too much. We might need to stop that.
But it's still a great relationship to have. Tevia asks, any opinion on Superman Doomed? I did not read Superman Doomed because, like I said, I did not like New 52 Superman at all. Did any of you guys read the Superman Doomsday Virus story?
I did not.
I read the spin-off of that with the character called
Doomed? Yeah, I actually read that too. And that character, I think he appeared, ironically enough, during like the Red Hood and the Outlaws run. When he was like a part of Jason's like new little junior team of villains. That was kind of fun.
He had a junior team of villains.
Yeah, Superman Doomed.
No, I didn't read it.
I wouldn't say read it. I don't think you're missing anything, especially because if you already don't like New 52 Superman,
you're not gonna like that either.
Yeah, seeing him slowly lose his sanity and become a monster, it's not gonna be for you.
I figured.
It wasn't really for me as somebody who liked the character.
Yeah. There's a question I wanted. I thought was really interesting. It's from Nova, all the way up at like 842. They were asking if was there any New 52 series or runs you thought or you enjoyed the whole way through.
The whole way through.
I have an answer to this. I have an answer.
Go ahead. I think I might have one.
Actually, Elvis, you go first.
It has to be more. It has to be an actual run. So it has to be like more than 10 issues. Let's just.
That's fair. That's a fair point.
All right, but I'll say New 52 Phantom Stranger. All right, by Didio and JMD, JM DeMatteis. Okay, now it has a really rough first issue that is honestly very bad, but Didio's like first and only arc is incredible, like old school EC Comics cheese, and then JM DeMatteis is like on some Spectre level, amazing, like religious quasi horror like nonsense and like nuance. Like it's all over the place, but it's also really complexly written. And I think that it lasted it lasted overall like 23 issues, and it's amazing.
Nice. Well, you Tex.
Does this include DCU?
What do you mean?
That era, that small
DCU.
year from 2015 to 2016.
Yeah, because that was technically before Rebirth, so I know some people count that as the New 52. So I'm asking.
It still counts as a New.
It's still a 52, yeah.
Okay, so I can't think of anything from the first wave or earlier wave. Closest thing may have been Hawkman, but that kind of went to shitter like really quickly. Well, actually, yeah, Demon Knights. But a lot of that's just because I love fucking Etrigan and he's in the book. So I'll
even the Venditti stuff.
So it's always something. It's always fucking something stopping one of these books. Actually, I'll say DCU's run on Cyborg. The one issue it had for me was how many issues did it fucking have? I think
that Cyborg story. I mean, series.
Yeah, I think that was actually the most interesting Cyborg has been in a minute. Especially when they were trying to push him as, a main character.
Yeah, especially in Justice League.
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure he had at least 10 issues, but the only one I enjoyed all the way through, yeah, I'd say Cyborg's the closest it got.
Cyborg had 12 issues.
Okay, close enough.
Good.
Yeah, so Cyborg. And a lot of that was just, I think it did a very interesting dive into Victor Stone as a character. Something he was kind of missing. Well, not missing, but you can tell like he was the only Justice League member that didn't get a book.
I think it was just a sense of direction of what they wanted to do with Vic, because we all know Vic is basically supposed to be a Titan. So the fact that it's Vic is pretty much the odd man out being on the League, especially since for like half of the Justice League book he's stuck in the Watchtower and he doesn't officially like fully say, all right, I'm gonna start doing more stuff now, until he like had his second near-death experience where his cybernetic skeleton got ripped off from his body.
Which he actually did have a pretty good well, it wasn't his tie-in, but he was like the main focus of it with the Metal Men or whatever. That was actually pretty good.
Yeah, that was.
But yeah, Cyborg's main book, like you said, it's a sense of direction for a character who's elected. Because Cyborg in the older continuity, he was the older brother of the newer generation of the Titans. He was the big brother of the Titans. Of the younger heroes. He's always a Titan. They thought about adding him to the League, but he didn't make the cut. Whatever. But in the New 52, he always felt kind of lost. So seeing his book come around and streamline his abilities, what he's capable of, finally putting a closing on his annoying story of am I man or machine, finally just laying at the rest. I mean, they brought it back later, of course, because that's the only thing writers know how to do with Cyborg. But in that book,
man or machine.
Yeah, they're like, oh, Jesus. Let that story go. It's been like 30 years. But yeah, I'd say that. There might be more, but I'd have to look at like a list of like books.
What about you, AJ?
See, I don't know if I can count this as a run, but like the two books I'm going to mention, I liked both the parts when the main writers were on them. Wonder Woman and Batgirl, but they left both.
That's actually good. Those are good answers. That's actually really good answers.
Yeah, those both lasted like really long times.
Yeah, Azzarello's I want to say was like 35 issues. I think Simone has like 36 to 38, with a few like extra, not main storyline books, but tie-ins to other stuff. And so those two books are probably the closest for me. But like I said, I don't know if we're calling those full runs, because
those are full runs. Those are definitely
okay.
Those are definitely full runs.
Nothing that gets cut off, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Then those two.
I just want to know whose idea was it to make Barbara look de-aged with giving her some kind of teenage bat suit.
Well, I was gonna say, that was around the time. It's so funny because Gail Simone, she's talked about it on her Twitter about how she pitched a lighter Batgirl story after they took her through all the stuff with, where they thought Barbara killed her brother, and they said, "Hey, I want to lighten this book up," and then DC kind of fires her, and then
Jesus.
the fan outrage forces him to bring her back onto the book for like another, I want to say 4 to 6 issues. They let her go again. They did not allow her to lighten up the book like how she wanted to, but then the next team she brings on does basically everything she wanted to do, but took it to like the 10th extreme. So I don't know, I want to say it was her decision, I want to say, to lighten Babs up. I don't know about making her younger. That probably was a new creative team, but they tried to incorporate, I feel, characteristics from Steph and put her in
I was just thinking that.
Babs's book, and it did not work.
Yeah, the whole
For me,
selfie
especially.
photo.
Yeah, the whole selfie thing was not
Yeah,
a
like-
good
Hey,
look.
this one line I always remember from that run. He said he did it for the lulls.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
Oh
see,
my god.
I wouldn't even hate that line if it was on a character it worked for. At this point,
Right.
Barbara's a woman. Like she would basically be like our generation. Like she wouldn't really talk like that. I could buy it on Steph since they love the Asian her and Tim all the time anyway.
They really do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
As for me, definitely, of course, Jeff Johns' run on GL. Of course, that was like his run in the New 52 was only 20 issues long, but so he pretty much had to make the best of it, which he did. Definitely hands down, Manipul and Bucceletto's run on Flash. That was beautiful. That was a very beautiful run that I enjoyed from beginning to end. And Tomasi's run on Green Lantern Corps, because once what was the dude that took over? Van Jensen, and I know Venditti kind of had a little bit of hand in it as well with GLC. I find it interesting how the first half of GLC was basically, it was supposed to be Guy and John, but the first half was mainly focusing on Guy a lot. And then after that, Guy went to Red Lanterns, and then John was the only main Earth Lantern to focus on in the GLC book. And it's like they couldn't make John happy. Like they just had to make him. They just had to make him suffer. I'm
He's
like,
the military
why?
guy. He has to suffer. You know that.
No, but here's the stupid thing about it though. Like this whole time, you have him with Fatality during the rise of the Third Army, then Wrath of the First Lantern, and then right after all that stuff is over, you find out like, oh, the Fatality that you were with was basically a shapeshifter. She was a Durlin the entire time. I was like, are you serious? Are you freaking serious? So John goes through this whole hunt to try to find the real Fatality, and you find out she discarded her Star Sapphire ring. She never had feelings for John at all. She still hates him for what he did. I'm just like, really? Really? It's just like they couldn't make John. It's like they couldn't make John happy. They make Guy happy with him kind of reconnecting with his family and everything, but you don't make John happy. Like what? That really bugged me. It really bugged me. But yeah, those are probably like the only few runs. Oh, and Batman and Robin, of course.
Oh
Batman
yeah, actually brought that up.
Oh yeah,
Piggybacking off that, Robin, son of Batman. I think it really did wonders for Damian. I liked it all the way through.
That's the one where he finds Goliath, right?
The dragon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know it sounds stupid, but Goliath is a quite endearing character.
Goliath is a very nice character. Okay?
I don't know what he is now. I have no idea. I think DC forgot
He's with
about him.
Roz.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
They show that in the Robin book right now.
That's where Goliath is right now. Come on. Now.
Which issue was that?
It was the issue before this last one.
Okay.
So let me see what number that was.
Okay.
So like is there any other crossovers you want to talk about? Or can we move on?
Future's End. We still gotta talk about Future's End.
No.
Do we though? Do we though?
Here's Future's End. Bad.
Notice how little time we spent on Convergence. Imagine wasting that same amount of time on Future's End. It's like,
I'm gonna say one thing. Great premise ruined by nothing writing.
I feel that same way about Convergence. See, a lot of things they have in common. You know,
I
it's
don't know
just
what. I just don't know why.
Oh,
Okay,
man.
I remember when it was my first free comic book day, and I remember that the issue 0 was being promoted with with Batman Beyond on the cover, and everybody looked like cybernetic robots that've been taken over by Brother Eye. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then you find out, as I think I only read like 4 to 6 issues of that story, and it just didn't work for me because I was only reading that book for Terry. That's the only reason why I was reading that series.
Then they change it for Tim like halfway through.
No, I didn't even get that far. I just stopped.
Hey,
I just like.
To be fair, Terry scores before he dies. All right, so he didn't die a virgin.
Well, props to Terry. Killed in a
And
horrible story.
That's issue 4 of Robin that Goliath shows up in, by the way.
Okay.
I thought you were saying like issue 4, Robin Terry scores.
No.
He's like, oh, what this book is about?
Oh my gosh!
Oh,
like,
no.
I don't know what Future's End was supposed to be, what it was trying to be.
Me neither.
It
It's
felt like one of those times they were just throwing stuff at the wall and then
To see what stuck.
because they didn't
Like-
even need to do it. It's like it's not even like
It had no impact. The only thing
it's like it wasn't worth it.
the only thing it did was it had actual like lasting legs was have a Batman Beyond spinoff that lasted 50 issues for some reason. That's it. Like all the things it brings up, like it tries to reintroduce Commandy, that goes nowhere. It gives Grifter.
God bless Commandy, bro. I know he's trying to come back. He keeps trying.
It gives Grifter like an adoptive daughter that goes nowhere.
What is DC's obsession with Grifter?
Grifter is just one of those obscure
Grifter
characters
is
that DC
cool,
just likes
don't
to
get me
pull
wrong.
their drawer for like specific.
But of all the
moments.
Wildstorm characters, like Midnighter's cool, Midnighter's vibing or whatever, but
Because
Grifter, he's always on the cover, like in the New 52 when they were like fusing universes. He was standing with the Trinity. I'm like, why is Grifter here?
Like
Why-
they like to push for the Wildstorm characters. They always like to push, Apollo and Midnighter because they're an LGBT couple, and Grifter just because of how badass he is.
no, yeah, that's true. But because probably Jim Lee loves Grifter.
That's right. How could I forget Jim Lee's other X-Men?
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
Oh
his,
my
his
God.
Wildcats.
Wildcats.
I actually did like the Wildcat show as a kid. I've never rewatched it, but I love
they're
that
good.
theme song.
They're good
I love
against
that theme
evil. They're good against evil.
Jesus.
But I guess kind of going all the way to the end, the back end of the New 52, where like it was about to close, Dark Side War. I surprisingly, after actually reading all of it from beginning to end, I really thought that Darkseid was supposed to be like the main villain of the book, and then you find out it's basically Grail the entire time that she was the villain.
Sad thing is, I actually like Girl. I just don't want her to be the
Me
main villain
too.
of the
Like
arc.
I actually I like her character. I like like her backstory and everything. How, and then you bring in Mr. Miracle and Barda to help out and everything. I know Elvis, you hate this, this because this ruins your Fourth World characters.
Oh God.
Yeah, he's used to it. It's okay.
It's so stupid.
He's used to it.
It's so
That's
stupid.
okay. I'm sure
Like
they'll make that New Gods movie and butcher it more. Don't you worry, man.
They canceled it, thank God.
They
Oh
canceled.
no, don't worry. They'll bring it back.
They'll bring it back.
They'll bring it back. When Matrix
Alright.
4 is a huge hit, they'll get Lana Wachowski on it, and she is
Exactly.
the best person for it.
Exactly.
Nah, don't you remember they've promised Ava if they make that movie, they're bringing her back along with
Yeah.
Tom King.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Honestly, as I think with Dark Side War, it really pulled me in to actually, I feel interested to actually read the original Fourth World stuff now, because I know it does like different versions. You got Granny Goodness, the Furies, Kanto, you got Calabac, Mr.
All
Miracle,
who I think
Barda.
are officially back with the Infinite Frontier book, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
They,
That's what they're hinting at anyway.
Yeah.
Infinite Frontier is so confusing to me. I don't even care what happens. I just like do whatever you. I'm like at this point, just do whatever you want with that DC. I don't care anymore.
Infinite Frontier is the answer to a question that doesn't need answering. Like no one cares if things aren't consistent. They just want to be entertained by a story.
Yes, that's basically what
Absolutely.
Infinite Frontier.
I mean, because
that's basically
DC and Marvel, for that matter, look, I do care about consistency to an extent.
Yeah.
But stop trying to push it when you never do it right. Like, how
Exactly.
many times has DC tried this?
3
Like-
times in a row already with
And-
New
and-
52, then with Rebirth, then with the whole New Justice era, and now
Yeah, just
Metal
confusing it.
happening,
Like
and now
you're just
this.
confusing people more. Just
Exactly.
give up on it. Just give up on it.
And it's like the best most evergreen books are the ones that do their own thing anyway.
Which is very true. Very
It's
true.
like it's just gotten so convoluted to the point I don't even feel like reading some of your biggest heroes anymore at this point.
The Flash is surprisingly really good. You should get.
Oh,
on
I
the
mean,
Flash.
okay, that's one of the best titles right now.
But
That's
you know-
one of the that is
Would Wally's
honestly
return to the mantle, right?
Yep.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
not
right.
not the very start. Like the first couple is like right when Infinite Frontier starts, they have a writer who's like really bad, just really bad stuff, and then like they get some new guy, Jeremy Adams, and he
Mhm.
is like doing some amazing work.
Yes, like it's genuinely good. But yeah, the New 52, my gosh. Do you feel like it did more bad than good, or it was just okay? Actually, Sex, you can answer that first.
I think on one end it did a good job of bringing in a lot of new people, or bringing in people back, and even some people stayed. I think on that end it did great. But the New 52 made a mistake. They should have learned that Marvel was smart enough not to make with the Ultimate books. Don't go all into this yet. Make it a separate thing. And they deleted the old continuity, went with the New 52. And all in all, while I do personally enjoy it, I can see why certain DC fans, especially long-time ones from like the 90s, I can kind of see why they would be so aggravated with it, because the New 52 is it's one of those things where it has a diamond in the rough, like multiple diamonds in the rough over the course of its like history. But it's also like if you're a longtime fan, it just didn't work for you sometimes. It's just like some stories, especially with its big characters. Like, of course, Batman's safe because he's fucking Batman.
It's Batman.
Yeah, he gets all the love. DC makes sure he has good books most of the time.
Make good books. They make
Yeah.
sure he gets all the books. How about
All
that?
the best writers, or all the writers that are hot right now. But then it's like I like New 52 Superman as a whole. I read a lot of his books now, Action Comics, the actual Superman book, like even other books with him in it. But it's like he's too jarring to like a normal Superman fan. And he was Superman for how long? Like how many years? Like 5, 6? Like he was the main Superman for people for years, and it's just DC really made a mistake. They really shot themselves in the foot. This whole like starting all over, but then also being very picky and choosy with what they choose to start over with.
Yeah,
Definitely.
So, and also letting a lot of legacy characters suffered for it.
Oh yeah, like they legacy characters. DC has always been one of its biggest aspects to me, especially like Marvel is coming into the race now with their legacy characters. But DC was always like the king of like generational heroes and generational like continuity, with it's like the JSA, the JLA, the other generations. And they tried to fit all of that rich history into that 5-year excuse.
The 5G thing.
Yeah, and they just shot themselves in the foot with it every time. I won't say the New 52 was like, and it was like bad per se, or like it was just all bad towards the end. I think it did help and do what DC wanted to do, but I do think it will be remembered as probably one of like the black spots in DC's history.
What about you, Elvis? So final thoughts on like the New 52 as a whole?
New 52 as a whole, I think that it did what it needed to do, which was keep the lights on at DC. Because if you remember, like according to like some sources, WB was like, we're gonna go.
Oh shoot! I think we lost Elvis.
Yeah, I think so.
Crud. Hang on. Actually, I'll pass it on to you, AJ. You can answer the question. So
Okay, sure.
try to bring it.
For me, I'm always going to be fond of the New 52 just for getting me back into comics after a long absence. Like to go with what Elvis was just talking about before we lost him, it definitely kept the lights on at DC. The month before they launched the New 52, I remember them saying like not a single book they had sold over 100,000 copies. and that was just shocking for people
Hello.
in the.
Yeah, we lost you for a
Yeah, we
second
got you
there,
back.
Elvis.
I don't know. My the microphone cut off.
Okay.
You know, AJ, you can finish your thought. I'll
Yeah.
jump back in later.
So they said that was just shocking for a lot of people at the company. Nobody was, for that time anyway. Oh, we lost him again.
And we lost him again.
Yeah. Nobody for that time was selling well by numbers of that time. I think a lot of books would kill to have some of those numbers right now. So they needed something drastic, something jarring, and seeds had already been laid for some of the stuff that they were going to do. So they said, hey, let's make this a line-wide initiative. I get why a lot of people, don't vibe with it. It got rid of characters, people who have grown up with, loves some of these more legacy characters. And I've liked legacies, but, I'm a little older than some folks. So going into things like Barry Allen coming back, and not that I'm old enough to have read Barry Allen the first time around, but I just grew up reading older stuff from my father and my brothers with that kind of stuff, and I really appreciated seeing some of these guys come back. So it was nice in that aspect, but too many of the books were all over the place. We talk about them trying to squeeze everything into a 5-year period, them not knowing what they want to do with certain characters disappearing from continuity altogether. So it's a very mixed bag. I try to look at the good more than the bad, but I absolutely understand every single complaint people have about the New 52.
Awesome. You guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you good.
Yeah.
All right. So before I get cut off again, I guess I should my thought. You guys remember how? Well, if you guys heard, according to some sources way back when this was happening, WB was like, DC, we're gonna start putting you into reprints. Like you're gonna basically shutting it down and just only doing like trades and graphic novels, shit like that. Like no new ongoing, nothing like that. And so, the New 52 was basically a Hail Mary pass. Like we can show you that we're still vital, that we can still do interesting, refreshing stuff, and that's why Flashpoint, which was meant to be like a small Flash family event, became a line-wide event, and it was basically like retrofitted to become a reboot. And that's why New 52 was just a lot of stuff that was already going to happen. They just need the branding, and that's why there was like a New 52 commercial. They were really trying to show people like DC's still around. Don't make them fire us all, So that's why I think like no matter what you think about New 52, I think that did what it needed to do. It gave DC some more legs. It helped. It was a life raft basically. And a lot of the books were good. I mean, if you read the terrible ones, that's on you. But I think the terrible ones were very self-evident. Like no one was forcing you to read Teen Titans. All right.
Oh my gosh.
Hey.
So like,
had to give it some kind of
nobody
chance,
told. I don't know whose idea was it to give Tim Drake that Falcon ripoff suit.
Some people actually think that's his best costume.
That is. Are you?
Get
okay.
out.
Look, anybody who thinks that is Tim's best costume, seriously,
I'll raise my hand to defend it because it's his only costume that's not a ripoff of something else. Like his original Red Robin costume with the mantle and everything. Yeah. That is a ripoff of the Dr. Midnight costume.
I mean, to be fair, even DC themselves and Universe have made jokes about it. So, just take away the cowl, let his hair show, and I think it'd be the perfect costume.
I mean, what else is the competition? Like the Drake costume?
Don't get me started.
Exactly.
Get me started.
So it's by default his best costume. Drake. It's not good, but it's his best costume.
Did Bendis not know he was naming him after a duck, man?
I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
I just don't get it.
I don't want to talk about it.
So,
I guess so. Basically, my final thoughts on the New 52 as a whole. Tevye brought out a comment saying New 52 ruined everything. Technically, not everything was ruined. To say New 52 ruined everything is kind of an overkill, kind of a statement. It brought like kind of what kind of what Elvis and AJ said. It kept the lights on in DC. It kept them above water. They needed this to bring their numbers back up, and it did. It did brought in those sales numbers with with every character getting like a number one, because if you've been reading comics for a while, number ones, they sell.
Marvel is laughing at you right now. Like this guy knows. Marvel
The
loves
most
that shit.
garbage of books were selling 100,000 plus on some of those new number
Huh.
ones. Like,
Number
oh my God.
Yeah, number ones, issue ones, they sell. That's why they're like the biggest issue for a lot of, for pretty much majority of these series, while the rest of the series is like 23 to like 26 pages. But yeah, number ones, they sell. And that's what a lot of those number ones did for the New 52. They brought their numbers up. Now, as for like the overarching portions of the New 52, some ideas were good, some ideas were questionable, and some things were just straight up bad, and some characters and some stuff really just got the bucket. Like, I mean, I know we didn't get the chance to talk about that small Static Shock book or that small Blue Beetle book that happened, but it's just they just had to stick with the more stuff that was bringing in the numbers. If they weren't it's kind of like what Elvis and AJ, you guys talked about this on your podcast. If a book is not bringing in the numbers, they got to cut the cord.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people understand that though. That's why
No,
so many characters don't get ongoings, man. Not every character can have an ongoing.
See, yeah, and that also goes back to the point: buy the book. If you love the character so much,
Thank you. Oh my God, thank you.
Yeah.
buy their book.
Why doesn't
You're not
Vixen get an ongoing? Well, I didn't buy it. I mean, I barely bought it.
Like, you didn't buy her book.
Oh man, you mean to tell me it's that simple?
Yes.
It's
like, is that like, even if you're not an issue by issue person, that's understandable. But if a trade comes out, buy the trade.
Yeah.
Just buy the first trade when it comes out.
That's how that Miss Marvel book stuck around. Folks got on the trades. Like,
exactly.
I want to say 3, 4. That book was 3-4 volumes in before it really took off. But it's like the best-selling trade in, I don't know if I want to say history, but it's done very well for itself. So yes, people, support these titles of characters that you want to see more of. Throw a couple bucks their way. That's all you got to do.
Yeah. As a minority, I'm tired of Twitter being like DC doesn't care about minority characters.
Oh, don't get me started.
They put out a minority book, you don't buy it. I don't know what you want.
And it's like they're not, outside of like Tom Taylor's dumbassery, they're not like fetishizing the fact that they have minority characters, unlike Marvel, which is like disgusting in how they really weirdly promote their minority characters. Like, it feels like they want a brownie. DC will just make a minority character.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. It's just I keep saying this, and not even like it counts for like female characters too. Like, oh, look, all these great female characters don't have their solo series because y'all don't buy it. Y'all don't buy that. Like, I just hate when I see it on Twitter, and especially when DC was doing that African American History Month, and they were like, they were promoting Vixen. And everybody in the YouTube comment, oh, look, they're promoting Vixen, but they won't give her a series. I bet you won't buy it. I bet you won't.
Like, you want Vixen to have her book? Buy her book then.
Exactly. Why do you think they always put her on
This is literally the epitome of put your money where your mouth is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, and
literally put money where your mouth is.
Tavia is definitely right too.
Somehow Deathstroke got a series during the New 52. Look.
Sometimes
Deathstroke has been living since the New 52, bro. DC is not letting that man stop. His train is going.
Like the Higgins run of the Deathstroke 52 series, the first one was pretty good. It was entertaining schlock. It was like let's just have Deathstroke try to kill an immortal guy. Okay, fun.
It's like one of those moments where you put the most incredible anti-hero or the most badass character in a situation, like, and just make it utterly ridiculous, and people will read it. People will buy it. They will actually like it. That's why it sells. But the New 52, it did bring in those numbers. It had some questionable moments. It definitely suffered, I could say, in the middle. I could say right after, Jeff Johns left Green Lantern. That era, like right in the middle of 2013 to 2014, that's when it was really suffering a lot. And once we got to like 2015 with Darkseid War and that whole DCU period, it was just at that point like, okay, y'all need to wrap this up and finish it and like let's move on. Yeah. So it definitely and that's pretty, that's how we got Rebirth. And Rebirth is definitely I
We're gonna be talking about that in 8 years too. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, and years later, trust me, I will find the time to. Because trust me, I was practically reading almost everything in Rebirth, almost practically everything.
I knew Rebirth was gonna flounder the second it came out. Like, this is not gonna work. They're doing too many half measures. That said, Deathstroke and Red Hood and the Outlaws are fucking amazing.
Yes, definitely.
I think Rebirth was that's what they wanted for the New 52.
It was better than New 52. It was like I was enjoying.
Far better.
DC.
I
was enjoying so many DC stuff that I never thought I would enjoy. Like, wow.
Yeah.
It was just wow. But thank you guys, gentlemen. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this discussion.
Anytime.
Yeah. So Elvis, where could everybody find you?
All right. You can find me on, of course, Comics Code Authority. It's our podcast. We can find it on our Twitter at Comics Authority, and also I have my own small channel, Unsourced Wall Radio. You find it on YouTube as well. And before we kind of move off, I did want to recommend everybody read New 52 OMAC and Dial H and Phantom Stranger and all the ones I praised, because they're really worth checking out, even if like that period of DC is over.
The short miniseries got to get their fair share of love and respect. AJ, where can everybody find you?
Yeah, just like Elvis said, you can find us at our podcast, Comics Authority. On Twitter, we're at Comics Code Authority. Excuse me. On Twitter, we're at Comics Authority. And you can also find me on Twitter, Mr. Mitchell _ 2 _ Find me there, giving my bad takes, as always, and talking about comic pirates.
I love the slander that you always give about Wally West sometimes.
Man, because people think I hate Wally. No, I used to love Wally. Not love, but I liked him enough. But oh my God, his fans. I want to punt that little ginger freak into the sun right now.
I couldn't agree more.
They're trying to do it to Cassandra Cain with me, and I refuse to let it happen. But no, I'm through with Wally at this point.
Oh man. At Tex, where can everybody find you?
Okay, so you guys can find me at the Detective on YouTube and Twitter.
Yeah, definitely. And stay tuned for our next comic book retrospective episode. Me and Tex are going to be doing our first, story discussion. We're going to be talking about the first arc of Brad Meltzer's JLA story arc, the Tornado Path. Very underrated story. I feel like people really
let's go.
Yeah, I feel like people really don't give that series of Justice League enough credit. They really don't. And it has such a beautiful roster of characters on that team as well.
Oh, you already know. I mean, that's peak Roy Harper, by the way. Don't forget
that peak Roy Harper. You got Black Lightning up in there. You got
honestly peak Red Tornado, because God knows DC ain't doing shit with him no more.
Oh please, DC is not touching Red Tornado. They barely touch Red Tornado anymore. Like, there's a whole library of characters that they ain't touching anymore.
Yeah,
but yes, thank you guys so much. As always, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitch at Blackwing2040. And as always, I am Vengeance, I am Darkness, I am Blackwing. Stay golden, everybody.